Okay, so New York Times comes out in a couple days ago. The New York Times, the dirty little secret of credit card reward programs.
Wow.
Now, for years, I've been saying they work. They absolutely do work. And people always call us and like, oh, you telling me that you don't take free flights? And they for sure do. If you're just swiping the card, I got a buddy who puts 100% of his life on these cards. Everything on the card, so that, and he pays it off every month, and he just does it for the free miles or free whatever.
Sure.
That's a real thing that happens. Now, most people don't pay it off every month, and they're like, no, I was just going too broke, and they don't. But fair enough. There are people who do. And my buddies were always surprised that I didn't participate. And it wasn't me trying to take a moral high ground or anything like that. But I didn't want to participate in this program because I knew that these credit card companies are not my friend. They don't like me. They're not hooking me up because I'm hooking them up. It's not like, yeah, bro, let's do this. We're in this together. I'll buy some stuff. You give me free flights. That's not how it works. Somebody is paying for my flights. And as I dug into it a few years ago, it appeared to me that the single mom with 3 kids who can't float the price of eggs and the increase in gas prices and the natural gas prices, she was paying for my flights because she was having to put this stuff on a credit card conceivably to survive. And so my free flights were being paid for by people who had way less and were struggling to make it. And turns out
Your hunch
was right.
turned into studies and data.
That's incredible.
This is wild.
Okay, tell us about this.
Okay. So it goes on to talk about, hey, these swipes you're using to get first class airfare and trips and all your rewards, it's not from nothing. The credit card perks for educated, usually urban pros, are subsidized by people who have less. So poor consumers are ultimately footing the bill. And in 2022, the Federal Reserve data showed that the cost of rewards as a share of total transaction volume on these credit cards increased 25% from 2015 through 2021. And so what's interesting, John, is the data was so clear in this study. It showed that $15 billion in reward value moved from the poor to the rich, from the unsophisticated folks who couldn't pay their bills on time to the affluent wealthy. And no, normal people go, well, yeah, that's how the system is set up, John. So I'm just going to take advantage of that. Why would I not? But here's what's wild. A lot of the people that come at us going, I can't believe John's trying to use this moral angle to say it's not coming from people who have less than. It's coming from swipe fees from the businesses and interchange fees and my annual fees. But I looked at Capital One's, they put their shareholder reports out every year. And in Q4 of 2022, it turns out that 2/3 of their credit card revenue came from interest and fees. Not from the interchange, not from the other fees, interest. So 2/3 is blood diamond money.
Yeah. And let's also, it's also easy to get on a high horse and say, well, they're just making dumb purchases and they don't know. If you've ever spent some time with people on the margins, so many don't know, right? They haven't been told. They're just trying to claw their way out of the world that they found themselves in. And they don't know that it's not normal to roll fees over like this. They don't know that a 30% APR isn't just the price of doing life these days. And so I don't know how people can look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm comfortable with a single mom trying to scratch through life with her buying my flights because they're free now. Like, I just can't wrap my head around it, George.
Well, and the other problem is we're all paying for this through the increased cost of goods. The United States has some of the highest credit card processing costs in the world, typically 2 to 2.25% on every purchase. And so the merchants, the businesses, the small businesses, they have to pass these costs on to the consumers by charging more for the products, regardless of how you pay.
And you see some of the local merchants that will say, here's the price for if you pay with a card. Here's the cash price. It's less. And George, I'm sure it's happened to you more because you're out in the world more than I am.
That's true.
But I had my first exchange the other day where I was at a place, I was traveling at a speaking event, and I was out on the road, and they said, we don't take cash here.
Whoa.
And it was like, I'm not going to do business with you. Just on principle, I'm just not going to do business with you.
Wow. Well, the data is clear here, John. Lower income consumers are forced to pay higher prices on the goods they buy, but they rarely receive any benefit from rewards programs, according to the Federal Reserve. And so it's been tracking all of this. And so to put it another way, they say credit card rewards are essentially a tax on less affluent consumers who are much more likely to pay for the goods with cash, debit cards, or standard credit products that accrue no such rewards. So You know, people have a lot of opinions about this, but across the aisle politically, I mean, NPR and Vox and New York Times, they're covering the same thing going, hey, this isn't innocent.
Yeah.
Someone is paying for this, and it's either the small business owner or the single mom, but you can't act like this is just an innocent, I'm just going to reap the rewards. Your free vacation came from somewhere, and we have to at least acknowledge that.
That's right. And if you and God bless you if you can sleep at night knowing that I pay my bills, I do my thing. So if your conscience can carry that weight, more power to you.
And even if you don't have a conscience, every single piece of data shows that you spend more when you use a credit card.
Right.
Every piece of data. So regardless, if you're saying, hey, I'm going to use my card for everything to get these rewards, the chances are you overspent to where the rewards were negligible.
Right.
You maybe got $1,000 in rewards. You spent more than $1,000 than you were if you were going to use a debit card on a budget or using cash.
So to me, the cornerstone rule is opt out of the system. Just opt out, man. This is like Matrix style stuff, but just opt out of the system.
I haven't had a credit card in 10 years, and I can unequivocally say my life has been better for it.
No question
Not
about
once have I wondered, well, they've got 5% cash back on restaurants this month, so I'm going to switch the card. I was hanging out with some guys the other night, and they're all personal finance, influencer type guys, and they're all showing me their different cards, and this one's made of 3 inches of metal, and I get this much rewards. And I'm like, guys, you make millions of dollars. How much money do you get back in rewards? They were like, I probably get $2,000 worth of value. Mm-hmm. I went, so you're playing this game for $2,000 worth of value, and you make millions.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a crazy. I mean, when you put it that way, you go,
it's
it
like
worth?
real life Dungeons and Dragons.
You're getting paid $200 a month to overspend and play this game and support this system.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it for me.
I'm out. I opt out of the system.